Today we're hunting gnomes, and in this forest we're going to hunt the forest gnome.
But before that, a little history on gnomes. Gnomes are mythological creatures which in European folklore are known as dwarvish, subterranean goblins or earth spirits who guard mines of precious treasures hidden in the earth. They are more famously known for wearing red pointy hats and having long white beards. The different types of gnomes that have been catalogued are the forest gnome, the house gnome, the dune gnome, the farm gnome and the Siberian gnome. But to those who don't have knowledge of the gnome kingdom, they'll know of the garden gnome, which are the only ones to hide in plain sight and don't actually pose a threat unlike the others. There hasn't been many real sightings of gnomes, but today we decided it was time to show them to the world. Welcome to Gnome Hunters.
In my 20-year career as an anthropologist, one creature has remained elusive to me. This creature being the forest gnome. Now, as we see, this is fertile ground for a forest gnome's habitation, next to running water so they can fish and find trinkets that may be lying at the bed of the river.
So there's not much we know about gnomes, but in this forest the main one we know about is the forest gnome. And so we've come here to find clues. So as you can see over, oh! That's what we call a gnome fly in this forest. Yeah, follow me. So here you can see there's been some gnome potions. This is where they actively make potions. You see, so they have the garlic potion with poison. And that one over there, that give you gnomades. It's called nades. So over here, they've recently been sleeping. And that means we might find some baby gnomes, which you know the nonce is like. Over here, this is, we've heard around the area that some people have gone missing. I'm not going to say it, but I think it's down to the gnomes. And so I'd say this is probably from quite a while ago, some clothing from a person that was killed by a gnome. But there's no body, so they must have just eaten the bones. So in this area it's riddled with spiders. There's one thing that gnomes are known to be afraid of, and that's spiders. So that's probably why they've left this area. So this is a campsite that has recently been attacked by gnomes. We've heard in reports that gnomes may have been here. So that's good news. We are on the track for gnomes.
As you can see, this is a characteristic of a vital and very disgustingly dangerous gnome attack. Tears in the tent, there's a lot of water as we know, near a river. Gnomes have been known to cause elemental damage. We just hope whoever was here made it out alright.
So, the four-leaf clovers. Now that is normally known for leprechauns, but that's a myth. Clive, tell them.
See, actually, from folklore, people had this false assumption that leprechauns are associated with four-leaf clovers. Little do the public know that it was actually the gnomes who genetically engineered the three-leaf clovers to make the four-leaf. They're said to have magical and powerful spells hidden within them.
And something not a lot of people know, if you eat them, you may get magical powers.
Are you alright?
That's got gnome piss on it. So a good tip is to actually stay together and not separate, because that's what the gnomes like. They don't just normally attack. There are certain kinds of gnomes, like dune gnomes, that will just attack because they have like a nasty nature and they love revenge. But for the kind of gnomes we'll see here, like forest gnomes, they'll probably just wait until one of us is alone. But I think it might be too light for them to come out now. I mean, it looks like people are recently here, because gnomes they're never out in the open. You'll only see them like hidden behind a tree. This is obviously a recent campfire, but the amount of people going missing in this forest. because they camp out here at night and use barbecues which attract the gnomes. Now I think we're venturing up there. I think they might have found a gnome home. So in folklore it says that in trees that have fell, in the holes, that's where the gnomes live. I mean, they might be hiding now and they'll come out later, but we'll see. Found a gnome!
Now here we see some gnome houses. Now this is an incredibly rare sight. I've only seen this a couple of times in my career. There's not too much to say about them. Very elusive, but they tend to sort of congregate under the trunks of fallen over trees. Now the thing that's surprising me is the amount of turn over trees. We've got some this side, some over here. I can imagine throughout this forest there must be at least, what, 10,000 gnomes?
We're back on the mission after having a little break.
Let's get moving. We're not going to be down if by the time the sun's down. I hate to be the drill sergeant, but we need to hurry up.
But we still haven't found these gnomes.
Yeah, we'll find
We're on the trail.
where they are. The gnomes are at the top. The film if you want. Now we need to cross the dangerous gnome valley. See all these fallen trees? These were abandoned gnome strongholds. We need to pass through here carefully, but it could be wide with booby traps, you see.
So we're going up there, the gnome hills. So a lot of the time they do take the higher ground and throw acorns and sticks at people. See, there is actually something peeking out of the top of them. Might be a person or a gnome sheep, we don't know. Yeah, all the way up there, some gnome sheep in between the trees.
They've been called gnome sheep because it's told that they are the forest gnomes' main targets and sources of food. That's why around this forest people commonly find sheep carcasses and wool strewn across trees. If you spot gnome sheep like we did, just know that the gnomes will be nearby scouting them out for their next meal. And maybe they'll include you in that meal.
See, when it starts getting dark, that's when it's danger time. It's where gnomes have attacked the sheep.
Gnomes main trade supply line.
Finally!
I've got my drink out of your backpack.
Yeah. We've made it to the top of Gnome Hill.
That's actually not true. We just made it to the midpoint of Gnome Hill, and next we had an even harder climb ahead of us.
And the gnomes will start to attack us more.
Especially as the sun goes down.
Yeah. So we have to make it up and then make it down before it gets dark. Or some shit will start to happen. And this may be the found footage of us, if that does.
Before we began our hike to the top of the hill, we took a small break to recover, prepare, and discuss how we were going to tackle the hardest part of this expedition.
See Dave here, Dave is, he's not a believer in gnomes. Ah, I've tried to tell him that they are real. Hurry, wait lad! Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to we go. With a bum bum bum, with a bum bum bum. Hurry, where are you? Hurry! Hurry! Let me just find him, I'll come down. I might have lost him to the gnomes. This is a... What? Are you? Well, I've got to find Harry, the gnomes might have taken him. Where are you? Right, well at least he wasn't taken by the gnomes. Yeah, they can't make it.
What? What? Have they gone all the way back now?
No, they're there.
Right, come on, literally see this nearest stick.
Right, I thought the gnomes got you, lad.
What?
I thought the gnomes got you.
I'm taking them out with the stick.
Nice.
Over here. Into the promised land.
Oh, finally, the top of Gnome Hill. Oh, what?
I think this hat has given me the power of Luffy to it.
Yeah,
I've not stopped. Look at this brother.
finally. We finally made it. We finally made it. The One Piece is real!
The One Piece is real! We made it. How sick is this?
Oh my god.
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
We finally made it to the top of Gnome Hill, and the view was impeccable. And to our surprise, there weren't any gnomes to greet us. Or so we thought.
Wait, I just saw one! I just saw one! I just saw a gnome! Harry, I don't know what we're gonna do, man. What we're gonna do? We need to go around it. Oh they're coming, they're coming! This isn't the same way, lad.
I know, it doesn't matter.
So I found something that is really rare in this forest. These over here are called gnome caps. So what gnome caps are, when it's hard to say this, when gnomes are like procreating, they're creating more gnome babies, in the location where they had the babies, gnome caps are formed, like in, you know, because little droplets drop down, it creates the gnome caps. So, you know, if you try some of these, they're actually poisonous. So I'd tell you to stay away from them. These gnomes, man, they're getting on my nerves. So the whole group has used too much cardio on this gnome adventure. So the gnomes may have defeated us now, but we'll see. Yeah. Like I thought I spotted a gnome before up there. And I mean, I really thought Harry was getting attacked by a gnome at the top, but it was just bad coordination. But yeah, right up there, I swear between the trees I saw one. I don't know what else it could be. Like maybe it's an elf or something. I think I'm going mad. Like I'm seeing things, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know what to do. It's really getting to me. Like we'll just see what happens. So there's been myths of a bridge troll as well around here. And the bridge troll is actually known for killing the gnomes and eating them. So we'll see if we find any dead gnome skeletons. But the other gnomes, they collect the skeletons because they don't want any evidence.
She's like 5'2". But hat. Oh, to be fair, people leave hats here all the time.
No!